Okay, I think we're about ready, so I'm going to get started here. My name is Julie, and I have been with Great Lakes Energy and Truestream for just over 11 years now. I had my 11th anniversary in February, so I'm from the area of Boyne City, so I've grown up here. And I actually, at my house, I am a Great Lakes Energy member and a Truestreamer. I'll play your host today. Again, if you have questions, please ask them in the chat box. We will be answering those as we can. And then we'll have a question and answer session a little bit after the presentation as well. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. We'll go over the plans that we offer and what might be the right option for you. We'll have a construction update for each of our areas, and then we will talk a little bit about streaming too. We know that that's a popular topic and not many people have had a lot of experience with that. If you don't have internet access, then it might not be something that you're very familiar with. So we'll talk a little bit about what streaming is and how we support that for you. And then again, we'll have a question and answer session after we've gone over some of those things. So first off, this is our promise to you, promise to our employees. We started a little differently. We're a co-op, and we started as a co-op in the 1940s when the rural farmers banded together because they wanted electricity like everyone in the big city. And we look at this project, our Truestream, bringing fiber internet to your home, in a similar light. You guys don't have access to high-speed internet, and we want to bring it to you. And we want to bring you the service that you deserve. Many of our employees are Great Lakes Energy members. Many of them have Truestream already if they're in our active service areas. And we know what we want to see as employees and as consumers. And some of those things are, no hidden fees, no data caps, nothing like that. So we've kind of structured our plans around, what the everyday person wants and what they actually deserve with their high-speed internet. So here's a little bit about the plans we offer. We do have 3 internet plans that we offer, and then we have voice service, and we do have a vacation plan for some of our snowbirds. And then we have business plans as well, but those are kind of personalized to your needs. So that would be a phone call to determine what you really need for that. So our first plan that we have an ultra plan that's 1 gig. So 1,000 megabits per second, that's $99.99 per month. We have a family plan that's 200 megabits per second. That's $69.99 per month. And then we do have a basic plan that's 100 megabits per second for $59.99 a month. Our voice service is $34.99 a month, but if you bundle voice and an internet plan, you do get a $5 per month discount. And on this slide too, we also have some of the highlights of what each plan offers. So as I mentioned, we have, unlimited data. There's no slowdowns. There's no, for best service, log in at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, no one wants to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want you to have to do that. So, there's no slowdowns because you have a fiber line running directly to your home. There's no sharing with neighbors. There's nothing like that. And we have no contracts, no hidden fees in there. We do have 24/7 tech support, and a big asset for us too is we have symmetrical download and upload speeds. So if you're uploading to the cloud or uploading your pictures to print or anything like that, those speeds are going to be just as fast as when you're downloading something. And that's something that most of our competition can't say that. And we do offer equipment free with every standard installation. So you will have a modem router unit that comes with your installation. There's no rental fees. There's nothing like that for that. So we've talked about the plans we offer, but how do we know which plan's right for you? How do you know? There's a couple factors that we look at when deciding, what plan might be best for you. And we kind of look at it a little bit like a pizza party. So the more people you have, the more devices you have that you're using, the bigger the pizza or the bigger the plan that you're going to need. So, if you have 10 devices that you're all using at one time, then you're going to need maybe the largest plan that we offer, the 1 gig plan. So it really depends on how many devices you have connected. Are you planning on adding any more? And that's something to consider. Maybe you don't have the best internet right now, so you haven't bought that Ring doorbell, or you haven't bought, the Alexas or the smart home assistants. You haven't bought, those smart lights that you've been looking at. But when you have an unlimited connection and a reliable connection like Truestream offers, that unlocks a world of possibilities of adding devices. So the more devices that you add, the more you're going to want to think about maybe upping that plan as well. It also depends on what you're using it for. If you're a big gamer, if you're streaming 4K, you'll want that bandwidth to be able to easily access those as quick as you can. Okay, so I mentioned that we do include equipment. Here's a little slideshow of some of the equipment that we do have. So once we're getting close to the installation, you'll see this gray box on the side of your house, and that's called a NID, or a network interface device. It's generally located by your meter, but when you see that on there, you know that you're getting closer to installation time. And then inside your house, when the installation tech comes, they will install a modem router, and that will provide the Wi-Fi, the internet to your house. You can hardwire devices in there if you need to for optimal speed. And then we do have some optional equipment that we offer. So if you have a fairly large house, or maybe if you're trying to reach out to your fire pit to stream music, something like that, and the Wi-Fi signal is not quite reaching there, we do have a Wi-Fi mesh system that we can install, and you can connect up to 3 of those on your account. And those are $5 per month per unit. And then if you're concerned about maintaining power to the modem and router in case of a power outage, if you have voice service and you want access to be able to still call 911 in an emergency, we do offer battery backups as well that will provide enough power to the modem and router to bring service to your house still. We have 3 different sizes available. That would be the number of hours that they're predicted to last during an outage. And those the starting cost of that is $90. That is a one-time purchase. So you would own that unit once you purchase that. Okay, so on to the big question, or probably our most asked question. When will I have service? When's it going to be at my house? We know everyone's waiting. We do provide, monthly updates on our blog, and we'll have a link to that after this is done as well. But let's talk a little bit about what we're doing as far as construction. Okay, if you're in our Petoskey service area, where we began building in October of we began installing in October of 2018, chances are you could have service now. There are a couple areas that are deferred due to relatively low lack of interest versus the extensive construction that would need to be done for those areas. But for the most part, if you're in our Petoskey service area, everything is up and going and ready to go. Similar situation if you're in our Boyne service area phase 1, so our Boyne City 1, 2, 3, our Deer Lake 2 and 4, or our Advance 1 and 2. Chances are, if you've registered, you have had the ability to have service brought to your house already, and you can be up and true streaming already. If you haven't registered, maybe if you're on the fence, we are still working in the area, but there might be a delay because most of our crews have moved on to our next service area. So we will still get to you, but there might be just a little bit of delay in that service. Our Boyne phase 2 service area is primarily where we're working right now, doing drops to the home. So bringing the fiber line directly to the side of your house. We're primarily working in our Boyne phase 2 area right now in East Jordan. And then we will move on to our Central Lake 2 and 4, Eastport 1 and 2, and then up to the Barnard area. Our Milton area, our Eastport 3 and At least part of our Central Lake 3 areas might experience a little bit of a delay. We've encountered some construction issues in that area, so they're working on getting through those right now, but it is on hold for just a little bit here while we work on that. We have asked that you've registered, if you're in this area, that you have already registered your interest by March 1st. And then if you have paperwork left to return, you have until the 15th in order to qualify for that free in-home installation. I know we have a lot of people from our Boyne Phase 3 area that are seeing our construction crews out there. Construction has begun on the main lines. And we have let people know that we're looking for them to complete their registration by April 1st and then complete the documents that are needed by May 1st to ensure that free in-home installation. And we are expecting drops to begin, so service to be brought to the side of your home this summer. And as we get a little bit closer to that and closer to the installation times, we will have that information updated on our blog as well. So keep an eye on truestreamfiber.com or on our Facebook page, and we'll have more information on that. Usually monthly, we put that out there. If you're from our Hart service area, we originally announced that we would be building in Shelby 4 and Rogers 4. Due to a permitting issue, we've decided to expand a little bit more in our Hart service area. So we've expanded to Baseline 2 and 4, New Era 3 and 4, all of Shelby, so 1, 3, and 4, Silver Lake 2, Rogers 2, 3, and 4. Now, since we had already announced the Shelby 4 and Rogers 4, we know that construction has begun. We've asked for you to turn your paperwork in already, and we've heard back from most of you folks already. But if you're in one of the new service areas that we've recently announced, we're going to have information out there to encourage you to complete your registration by May 1st and then return any of that paperwork by June 1st in order to qualify for that free installation. And as we get closer to those construction timeline, as we get closer to the mainline construction being done, and as we move through there, we'll have updated timelines out there as well on the blog post. Okay, if you're joining us from our Wayland service area, this is part of where it's been delayed due to permitting issues, but we are still able to build in our Wayland 4 area. And we're going to ask for your completed registration by May 1st and the paperwork to be returned by June 1st, the same as the new Hart areas. And then the Middleville 1, Broman 2, and White Cloud 3. Middleville 1 was in our Wayland area, but Broman 2, White Cloud 3 are both from our Newaygo area. We've applied for the permits that we need for that area, but we expect that they'll take a little bit of time to work through the whole government process. So construction's been delayed, but it's not canceled at all. We expect to begin in 2022 then, with installation starting in late 2022 into 2023 for those areas that have been delayed due to permits. We've also recently announced that we're going to begin our fielding process in our Waters and our Kalkaska area. So fielding will begin, I believe, near the end of the month here. And it will begin in our water service area. We'll have an updated map where we will break it down into smaller sections like we've done in our other areas. And we'll work our way through the Waters area, and then we will be working in the Kalkaska area, collecting information to find out what it will take to build that fiber internet structure. And as long as everything looks good and the board approves it, construction would likely begin in 2022 for the Waters and Kalkaska areas, at least portions of them. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about streaming now, so give us some time to ask questions as well. So streaming is not something that everyone is familiar with. If you have, less than great service, maybe you haven't decided to try your hand at streaming yet. Maybe you're still going the traditional TV route, but when you have Truestream, you have a reliable connection, you have a high-speed connection, it's easier to cut the cord, and you can look for ways to save money by doing that. So what you would need to start off with, if you have a smart TV, that's, you know, an easy option. You would just go find the apps that you want. If you don't have a smart TV, I don't own a smart TV, but I do own a device to turn it into a smart TV. So we have some listed here that are some general ones. You can purchase these at any big box store, online, anything like that. And you would need one per TV if you don't have, if the TV is not smart. So some of the more popular ones are the Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV. And that is basically like a small computer that just gives you access to the internet, gives your TV access to the internet. So you can use different apps to stream TV instead of going the traditional cable or satellite TV route. So let's talk a little bit then next about some of the apps that are out there. There's a lot out there. Here are just a few of the more popular ones. And prices vary. A lot of times though, they have a free trial period, so you can try it out for a week or so before you're, and there are no contracts, so you're not locked in anyway. So you can watch it for a month even, and then, you know, try something else. Many offer live TV services, which is important, and there are quite a few that are starting to offer local TV as well, and we know that's important and something that we get asked quite a bit as well. So many people have heard of Netflix or Hulu. You know, if you've watched the news, you've probably heard about most of these at this point. YouTube TV is pretty popular. And then, you know, Disney Plus, they all have their pluses and their minuses, and TV watching habits really vary by people. So each of these networks or apps, streaming apps, will offer different things, different channels. And we do have a link out there to, this is cnet.net, and they have a guide to the top 100 channels that offer live TV. So you can see on the left-hand side here, this is just the beginning of the list, but if you go look at the full list, it gives you the top 100, what they consider the most popular channels, and then you can see which of these services offer those channels. So this is one that we found to be pretty helpful. This way you can go, you know I want to watch X, Y, and Z channels, which service is going to offer those to me, and which one's going to be my best option. And like I said, there's, you know, you can test them out too. There's no contracts usually with the providers, so you can test them out and see which one you like the most. Okay. With that, we can go back to any slides if we need to. We can ask more questions in the chat. I think we'll have a couple employees here pop in, and they'll probably be asking some questions as well that you've submitted. The session will be recorded, and we will send a link to that just so you guys know if you need to go back and watch it again, or if you'd like to share it, or maybe if you needed to leave early, we will share that with you as well. So with that, please use the chat function on here, and we will get to any questions that you guys might have.
Okay, Julie, I'm going to read off a couple questions and see if we can get those answered. So we have a couple people asking if they could be present when the outside installation occurs, when we bring the drop from the main line to the house.
Okay, I would say for the most part, we would need to be alerted ahead of time if you want to know exactly when they will be there. For the most part, you don't need to be home for that process. So the construction crews just come through when they're in the area, and they'll get to as many houses as they can get to. But if you do want to be home for that, we'll just need to know well ahead of time so we can alert you.
Okay, that's what we talked about in the chat. I just wanted to make sure everybody heard that. We also, just a reminder, you do need to be home when the in-home installation occurs. An adult 18 or over is required to be home at that time so we can be inside the house.
Right, and it's ideal if that person knows where they want the router as well, if it's not the homeowner. I know we've had a few instances where maybe it's a caretaker at a summer home or something like that. So that person that is there for the installation should know where they would like the router. We'll recommend, we recommend that it's on a main floor, centrally located, not stuck behind a cabinet or, in a metal box or anything like that. That will block the Wi-Fi signal. But if there is a specific location that that person is looking for the router to be, we would need to know that ahead of time.
Okay, and could you review the seasonal plans and the structure of those plans one more time?
Yep. So we do offer a seasonal plan. It's for internet, it's $25 per month, and it does drop down to I think 1 to 2 megabits per second. So it's enough to run maybe a camera or two if you have a security system or something like that. You can be on it for up to 6 months out of the year, but it is done in a monthly cycle. So you can't be on it for, 2 weeks and then off of it for 2 weeks. It is done in a monthly time with the billing.
Okay, great. Thank you. Someone asked about local channels and availability options for streaming. I did put the link to our streaming service cheat sheet in the chat. So that's a link to our website and also a link to some speed comparison documents. So you can check that out. Yep, it's on the screen. So we have that on our website. A couple of questions in the chat about upgrading. Can you change your plan?
Yes, and I meant to mention this. I skipped over it. Don't tell my bosses. All right, they're all on the call. You can upgrade your plan at any time. So if you start with one plan and say you're adding more devices because you're, getting more and you have reliable internet, you can upgrade. That's just a phone call away. Same with, if you wanted to lower your service, you can do that as well. But even if you want to upgrade for just a month, if you are having, company over for the holidays or something like that, and everyone is on their smartphones and everyone is streaming and everyone's doing everything, because we don't have any contracts, you can change your plan for the month as well.
Okay, what about installing the fiber? If they have underground service from the road to the home, will we be installing the fiber underground?
Yep, our fiber lines will generally follow the path of the electric. So that applies to the main line, that applies to your house as well. So if the lines are overhead, then we're gonna probably do that with the fiber as well. But if they go underground, then we'll install that underground as well.
Okay, and then people have signed up online and have had welcome emails, but they haven't received any paperwork. What do they need to do to facilitate getting some of their paperwork in?
We've recently changed our system, so we might need to look at that to find out exactly which paperwork we need. But for the most part, if you've recently registered, if you've logged into your Great Lakes Energy online account to complete your registration, what we need is the site plan back from you, and you can find that on truestreamfiber.com, and that's under the forms tab. If you need a copy of that sent out to you, just shoot us an email or give us a quick call. We can get a copy mailed out to you as well if you don't have a printer at home, but that's primarily the documents that we're needing back now from people. And that link, if you got the welcome email, the thank you for your registration, the site plan link should be in that email as well.
Okay, we had a question about Thumb Lake. Does Corwith 1 cover all of Thumb Lake?
I believe it covers a majority of it, but there might be parts of it that are in our Boyne City in our phase 1. So we'd have to look at the exact address to find out which area you're in. And as I mentioned, we have changed our registration process a little bit. In that process, we did lose our map, but we are working pretty hard to get that back because we know that that's something that you guys like to look at and rely on. So I believe near the beginning of April, we should have that map back out there so you guys can look at it, zoom in on it, find out for sure which area your address is in as well. But if you want to find us on Facebook or shoot us an email, we can always look up your account as well and let you know for sure which area you're in.
What's the best email for people to contact us with?
Best email would be info@truestreamfiber.com.
Okay, so someone asked, can they see what zone their address is in? So is that not yet until the map?
Right, we'll have that. That'll be available once the map is out there again.
Okay, and a couple of questions about Boyne Phase 3, kind of in the Elmira area. Do we think that installation is going to happen before the snow falls?
Like, is it gonna snow next week? Because probably not that, but before next winter, we should. Guy said we are planning on having installations, or at least the construction to the outside of the home would likely take place this summer. So we'll work through those areas, get everyone installed. I know they'll try and get as much underground done before that snow flies and the ground freezes as they can. So we do anticipate the installations to begin this summer in our Boyne Phase 3 area.
Okay, what about the outside box, the magical gray box? Could that be installed discreetly? I'm not quite sure what that would mean, but can you explain a little bit how we determine the placement of that gray box?
Right now, for the most part, that gray box is installed near your meter base. If your meter base is on the side of your house, if it's not, then it will go, our designer will come out there and determine the best route for that. We are in the process of maybe giving the homeowners a little bit more input as to where they think that gray box should go, but it does need to be, there are certain codes that it needs to follow, and Dale might know that a little bit better than I do, but we'll need to have access to it, so it can't be behind a locked door or anything like that. But generally on the outside of the house, it's not super big. It's a standard. I mean, you probably have one for an old telephone or other service like that as well.
Okay, what about situations where there's decorative concrete or, a lot of landscaping? How do we run the service to the home with that? Their electric service is in a conduit.
Our designer will come out. You'll turn in that site plan where you can let us know everything that's going on in your location, and our designer will come out to your actual location to check that out, check out where, they think that gray box should go on the side of your house. And at that time, they would be able to determine what the best construction method is. So we have a couple different ways of doing underground. Sometimes they can just dig a trench and put it in there. Other times they do bore under objects like a concrete driveway or something along that line if we can't go around it. So they do have ways to install under decorative items like that, or concrete sidewalks or driveways.
Okay, I have a question here. I think this might be good for Les. He's our tech support specialist and has done a lot of our installations. So if the router is placed in the middle of the house, will it work for all of outside near the house, or is some other piece of equipment required? If we can unmute Les.
There we go. Okay, so it really depends on what size home we're talking about and what we're looking at for exterior walls. So it's going to usually be determined once the tech is on site. We'll be able to get a better look at the layout of the home. And at that point, we can determine, do some testing, see how the Wi-Fi looks on the outside. And if we have something interfering at that point, we could add one of our extenders if you so choose to do so, or if you'd rather buy one after the fact.
And what about the Giga Center, Les? Is that
Mhm.
hardwired or wireless?
So what we have is the fiber optic will be ran in to feed into our modem. And then that modem connects hardwired into the router, which you do have an option to hardwire up to 4 devices off of our router. And then you can also connect in wirelessly to a 2.4 gigahertz band and a 5 gigahertz band.
Okay, a couple of questions about the Hart area, Stony Lake and Shelby. Could you review the Hart service area? Julie?
Yep, so we have construction has begun in our Shelby 4 and Rogers 4 area. That mainline construction has begun. So you'll probably start seeing crews out if you're in that area. Otherwise, they will start branching off of those to start reaching the other areas that are all in yellow on the map here. We expect installations for our Hart area. Pull up my slide here. Installations in those first couple Hart areas will be later this summer. And then we'll move on from there and get as many people connected before the end of the year as we can. And as we start getting more involved in that construction, we'll have updated timelines out on the blog as well to let you know approximate timelines of when the drops will be beginning or when they'll be stopping, when they're anticipated to be completed, and what the installation timelines will look like. So as we get a little bit further into it, we will have that information updated as well.
So what about if people are in the orange areas? Should they go ahead and sign up and get their paperwork in?
If they're in the orange areas, you can still log on to your account and register your interest. So we know that you're out there waiting, but there's no need to turn the paperwork in yet until after we we'll be in contact again once those areas do become active. And then at that time, we'll ask you to complete the registration, which would be you pick the plan that you're interested in. And if you're interested in phone service or any of the Wi-Fi mesh or the battery backups, and then you would be required to return the paperwork at that time.
And what about Wayland 4? Can we go over Wayland 4 one more time?
Yep, so Wayland 4 construction will begin in the late summer. And you can go log in right now and complete your registration there. You can print off that site plan and get that back to us. We'll be in contact here shortly though to direct people that have shown their interest to go complete their registration now. So get that paperwork back to us by June 1st so we can ensure that free in-home installation in your area.
Do you think in-home installations will start this year in that area?
They should begin, there's a possibility they'll be late this year, that there could be some in-home installations happening.
Okay. A couple more questions for Les. Les, are you still unmuted? Okay, Les, can the outside,
There we go. Now I'm
okay.
back.
can the outside box be placed where the present Spectrum charter box is?
I believe that all depends on when they go out to do the survey. But as long as that's accessible and that's going to be a good location for us to run the fiber in, they do put that there, quite common. So that should be possible as long as there's not something obstructing the way for them to get the fiber optic cable to that location.
And how do you extend your Wi-Fi service to an outside garage?
So now we don't support outbuildings. We have had people take meshes and end up putting them out there. But if there is troubles after the install, we don't support those. So what you can try to do is put a mesh extender out there and see if it'll pair up wirelessly. But kind of after that point, it is out of our hands. What I do recommend to a lot of people, if it's too far of a shot to do it wirelessly, is you can have somebody come out and run a Cat 5e or Cat 6 cable out to that outbuilding and hardwire an extender. That would be a lot more steady connection than what you would have trying to shoot it wirelessly through the two exterior walls.
Okay, and what about the battery backups, Les? Are those strong enough to support streaming during an outage?
Yep, so the more you use those, the quicker it's going to drain those units. But a lot of folks that we do have connect in with the internet and not having phone, they do still take those battery backups just to be able to have access to the internet during these outages.
Okay, and then a technical question, another one, is it a Pppoe connection?
So we do WPA 2 for our security type on these. So it's going to be compatible with pretty much anything you have. I haven't ever had a device that wasn't able to connect in and use this with having any issues with NAT types, as long as we're not trying to do any router to router. So they shouldn't have any issues.
Okay, and then Taylor, if we could unmute Chris. Is Chris on the line? Chris Barber? And while he's getting unmuted, Julie, could you go over the timing for Eastport 3?
Sure. Our Eastport 3 area, we mentioned, is delayed a little bit right now due to some extensive construction work that needs to take place. So we don't have an update on exactly when that construction will begin, but when we do have more information on that, it will be featured in our construction blog.
Okay, thank you. A business question. Chris, are you available to answer?
Yes, hi Sherry, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Will New Era and Shelby, will we have service there available to businesses?
New Era and Shelby.
Which is in our Hart Service District.
Excellent. Thank you for clarifying. We will have business services. We have advanced data services offered up in the Petoskey service area today. We're evaluating sort of business opportunities in that area, but we do offer a business plan that's symmetrical for most applications. So determining the size of the business, we would probably want to set up a phone call with you and understand the needs of the business. If it's a large business, we can look at our advanced data services offering. And small, medium business could actually use the same product that we use for our residential service offering. So typically 50 employees or less, I think that is a good fit.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Either for Chris or Les, maybe can the battery backups be recharged?
I can take that, Les, since I'm unmuted. The battery backups are constantly under power and always when the power is active, recharging the battery cells. And the expected life of those units is greater than 7 years. And I did want to add one comment that came in earlier about the Pppoe. I think that's the method in which the device obtains an IP address. So I just wanted to clarify that we use DHCP. And we also offer a static IP address available for an additional charge if that's something important to you.
Okay, there's a question about a home that is not occupied at this time. Can we run the drop to the house now and then have it connected later inside once the home is occupied. Is that one you can take, Julie, or do we need to ask?
Do we want to unmute
Dale.
Dale for that?
Taylor, if you could unmute Dale. Dale, are you on?
I think so. Can you hear me
Okay.
okay?
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Okay, if you can hear me, all right. So I think the question was, if you have a vacant house, can you take service? So obviously our intent is that when you register and send that paperwork back, the intention is to provide you a service. At a later date, obviously, cost will be applied as far as if you miss that free installation period. There will be a charge if you've missed that, and then we have to come back to do that installation.
Okay, thank you. And then the electric comes out one side of the house and the phone line's on the opposite side. Will a phone line be run all the way to the current phone location? Is that one you can take, Dale?
One more time, Julie, with that one.
The electric comes in one side of the house and the phone line's on the opposite side. So will we be running a separate phone line from the fiber?
So the phone lines will hook through that router. Obviously, our phones are voice over internet. So depending on the technician, when he's on site, will determine the best way to wire that from the router. So regardless of where those phone lines come in, where we place that router at is where the phones will terminate and connect to the wiring in the home.
Okay, so it is Wi-Fi calling, folks, a little different than maybe what you have now. How long after the outside line is installed will the inside installation appointment be made? That's the question that everybody wants an answer to. We have an estimate for that?
Well, I would say that this is going to vary depending on what area you're in as well. Our construction's changed up a little bit on what they're planning on doing when they're in the Hart service area or in the Wayland service area. So in order to keep our crews near each other and to make logistical sense, they'll be building the main line and then they'll be doing the construction to your home shortly after that. But that doesn't mean that the entire main line is built yet, and we need that entire circuit built in order to light up the network. So you may, if you're in one of our more southern areas or our mid areas, you may have that gray box on your house for quite a while before we're actually ready to light up the entire network. But once that is done, then we will be able to come install, fairly quick. If you're in one of our northern areas right now, I know they're looking for installation. So if you have that gray box on the side of your house, give us a call. We're ready to send techs out to come install right now. But it will be just a little bit different in our Hart area. And you will receive email communications through the whole construction process to let you know what step of the process you're in and maybe what to expect next in that process. And we do explain that a little bit in that email series as well.
So it's important to watch your email for communications from Truestream. Okay, Julie, one more question for you. So talk about streaming services. If they're using a streaming service at another home, can they use that same streaming service at their home served by Truestream?
Yep, that's a great question. And that's a great way to possibly save money as well. If you have a Fire Stick or a Roku or a device that you use maybe down in your home that you're at during the winter, you can grab that, bring it back with you for the summer up in beautiful Michigan and plug that right into your TV, and that will still work just as it does down there. If you have different devices in each location, that's fine too. You can just log into it. You would log in like you do any type of app, and you'll still have the same access that you would at other locations. Another feature that I know some people have used, I mean, we've heard about people, cheating and stealing other people's Netflix logins and things like that, but they do allow you to have a certain number of devices or screen sharing at one time. So you can, possibly split that too. If you're not a big TV watcher, you only have one TV and your child is maybe using that at their house with their family, you can split maybe a YouTube TV and log into their account or something like that as well. But they can travel with you. If you subscribe to that service, then you have access to that service. Even if you're on a boat that has Wi-Fi, you can log in and watch it on your phone using their app as well.
Okay, and you've talked about quite a while for some of the timeframes. Do we have any more specifics on what that means, or what's the best way for someone to find out more specific timeframes?
The best way to find out specific timeframes is to keep an eye on our blog. Like I mentioned, that's on truestreamfiber.com under the news section. We do try and update that about once a month. Usually it's near the end of the month that gets updated, where we do include potential timelines. And it's important to know that the timelines that are given are for the entire area. So if I say Advance 1 or, Boyne City 2, it doesn't necessarily mean your house will be installed on that date, but we're going to start in that entire service area at that time. So we work our way through, and we do get to anyone that has registered. So updates are generally posted out there, and we do try and get, as specific as we can or as we're comfortable with sharing.
Okay, and how about Elmira 2? Can we review that? And then also talk about what you meant when you said Boyne Advance 1 was complete.
Okay. All of our Elmira and Corwith areas have mainline construction going on right now. You've probably seen trucks out there working. They're getting the poles ready. They're putting the lines out there. And then once that's complete, we will be able to bring the fiber from that main line to the side of your house. And we are expecting installations to begin this summer. We're asking that you complete your registration by May 1st by April 1st, and then return that site plan by May 1st. If you are taking voice service as well and you would like to keep your phone number, there is a form that we need filled out as well, so we can port that number from your current provider over to us. So that link is provided on the email as well, the confirmation email once you've completed your registration. So site plan we're looking for, and then that it's called a letter of agency, which is permission for us to take that phone number from your current provider. We would need that returned as well if you were taking phone service.
And talk about construction being complete in the Boyne Advance area, please.
For the most part, everything in our Boyne service area phase 1 is complete. There may be some areas, like I mentioned in Petoskey, that are deferred due to the extensive construction that's needed to bring fiber to that location and the relatively low signups for that area. So there may be a couple places that have that or that are running into that issue, but for the most part, the mainline construction's complete, and anyone that had completed their interest, completed their registration process and returned that paperwork should be seeing service now.
Okay, and can you get installation now and turn the service on at a later date? Or is there a cost?
I can take that one. So once we do the home installation, that day, that service begins, and also billing begins on that day. So once we install, that activates your service, and that also starts the billing cycle. You cannot delay once we do that installation and turn that service on.
Okay, thanks, Dale. And then what about the Wi-Fi? Is there a password protection for the Wi-Fi?
Yes, there is. Then that password will be with the router. There'll be a sticker. Technician will show you where that sticker's at. There's also an extra sticker that you can have to hide somewhere in case you lose it. So that way you have access to that Wi-Fi password.
Okay, so Dale broke up a little bit, but the Wi-Fi password is on your equipment, and during your in-home installation, our technician will go over that with you. Another question for Julie, when will the map to find the addresses and zones be available?
Yep, like I said, we changed our registration process, and in that process, we lost our mapping system that we were using. We are working on replacing that right now, and we expect early April for that to be available for everyone to be able to view, enter your address, so it can drop a little pin in there so you know exactly where you're located again. So
Okay, and
early April.
That's it for questions, Julie. So would you like to say any final words to the group?
I guess I'll just leave you guys with this. I have been a Truestreamer for a couple years now. My house was actually the first one installed. And I had decent internet before, but it was nothing compared to what Truestream offers. And I have a few little kids at home that are all using devices as well. So there's never been a slowdown. We're able to connect every device that we could ever want. It's really a great service, and we really look forward to welcoming you guys into our Truestream family. And we do look at everyone like they are family. We're all in this together. We know that everyone is very patiently waiting, maybe not so patiently, but you know, we appreciate your patience. We appreciate your kind words. Reach out to us on Facebook. We like interacting with you guys. And, you know, we're really excited to be bringing this service to you guys.
Okay, that's it for questions. This will be recorded and available, through our Facebook page or on our website?
Yep, it'll be uploaded to our YouTube page, and we'll link to that on our Facebook page, as well as an email thanking you guys for attending with the link. If you need to go back and watch that, or if people registered but weren't able to make it, they'll be able to easily access that as well.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
Yep, thank you guys.